Hi, Becky here. In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about something called the 5-second rule. So, have you ever had a hard time sitting down to work at your computer? Maybe because you're feeling scared or overwhelmed or um, unmotivated or having a hard time focusing, or you had a hard time getting out of bed in the morning, or a hard time going to bed at night, or maybe a difficulty putting on your shoes to go for a run or go for a walk. So this rule, the 5-second rule, was created by someone called Mel Robbins. And when I first heard about it, I was fascinated because it's so simple and it can be really powerful. And some people have even said that it has changed their lives. Now, Mel Robbins, the woman that created the 5-second rule, has created kind of an empire around it, actually. So if at any point you're interested, you can check out Mel Robbins. And she's got a book about the 5-second rule. And she's got TED Talks, and I think she's got a website. And so she's got a whole empire around it. But let me tell you a little bit about how it came to be. So Mel Robbins, as she tells a story, she was out of a job. She was feeling anxious and depressed. She was drinking way too much. She was sensing that she was a failure in all things in life, including her relationships as a mother, as a wife, as a professional, as a friend. In all ways, she was just feeling like a failure, and she'd lost all motivation. And a major issue in her life was not being able to get out of bed in the morning. So she was responsible for her kids and getting her kids ready for in the morning and getting them, ready for the bus to go to school. But she couldn't get out of bed because what happened was she said that as soon as the alarm went off in the morning, she had this deep sense of dread and fear. And so the alarm would go off and she'd hit snooze. Alarm would go off again, snooze, snooze. So she kept snoozing and she wouldn't get out of bed, which meant that she wasn't there to help her kids get ready for school, which meant her kids weren't ready for school. They didn't get on the bus, which meant that she needed to drive them to school, and they arrived late. So she had this deep sense of shame over the fact that her inability to get out of bed then led her kids to being late and them being embarrassed, and she felt shameful as a parent. So she felt like, she hated this. She hated this cycle and really wanted to change it, but what was struggling and didn't know how to change it. And then one day she was listening to the news, or she was listening to the TV, and she heard the newscaster person talking about some rocket launch, and she heard the words 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it struck her. She was like, "Oh my God!" Like that's those ubiquitous, numbers, that counting down, and then the rocket launches. And she said to herself, "That's going to be me tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to rocket launch myself out of bed." And she did. And she says it completely changed her life. So, let me tell you a little bit about what the 5-second rule is. It's as simple as saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and just doing something different. But she breaks it down into 5 different steps, okay? 5 parts, I should say. So the 5-second rule is, in quotes, this is what it is. If you have an instinct, so that's the first part. If you have an instinct to act on a goal, you must push yourself, sometimes physically, to move within 5 seconds. That's the fourth part, or your brain will kill it. Okay, so you have an instinct to act on a goal. You must push yourself to move within 5 seconds, or your brain will kill it. So she says that the moment you have an instinct or a desire to do something, you need to use the rule. Okay, so because there is a moment in between the time that you have a desire to do something and your brain's ability to just kill it. And she says that moment is 5 seconds. Okay, so if you don't act on your instinct within 5 seconds, it'll stagnate and you won't do the thing, right? So if she didn't, when she woke up in the morning, if she didn't hear the alarm and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 herself out of bed, if she sat and thought about it for a minute, then it would stagnate. Her brain would close down that instinct and she wouldn't get it done. Okay, so now let me kind of break down those 5 elements and explain them to you as she explains them. Okay, so the first part of the rule is from the moment you have an instinct. So she defines an instinct as something that your gut knows that it needs or wants to do. Okay, so it's an urge or a pull that's from your heart, that would be good for you. So an instinct is something that's good for you. And it's often the urge to do something even though you don't feel like doing it, okay? Um, so that's what the instinct part is. So if you have an instinct, from the moment you have an instinct, and the second part is to act on a goal. So the instinct, it's not each and every instinct, it's the ones that are moving you towards a goal, right? So for me, let's say that I'm just going to use something kind of stupid and simple, right? Eating potato chips. I like potato chips and I know they're not good for me. I like to generally be a healthy person, but I really like, well, sour cream and onion potato chips are totally my downfall. And if I start eating potato chips, sour cream and onion potato chips in particular, I'm kind of a salt fiend, and I can keep going and going. And I will say to myself, okay, this is the last one. No, this is the last one. This is the last one. But what I need to do, because I know that it's not good for me, I know that it doesn't actually make me feel good. I feel kind of sick if I have too many potato chips. Is that I need to stop. So my goal is to be healthier, to not feel sick, right? So I have an instinct to stop eating because that's a good instinct for me. And my goal is because it'll make me feel better. Okay. So what I need to do is, instead of promising myself, I'm going to stop, I'm going to stop, I'm going to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 myself and, close the bag and go do something else. So that's the third part that she talks about. It's about pushing yourself, right? That is doing something that you don't want to do. Okay. So the first part is, if you have an instinct to act on a goal, you must push yourself. So even if you don't want to do it, even though I'm loving my potato chips in the moment, and I don't want to put them away, I need to put them away. I need to push myself to put them away, right? So the way that Mel talks about it is that it's taking control of your own life one push at a time. Taking control of your own life one push at a time. So in regards to dissertation, it's about, if you have a hard time sitting down to your dissertation, but you know you need to, or you're sitting down, you have a hard time getting started or getting focused, and you know you need to, you know that you have an instinct to get started, to do something, to get working on your goal, which is working on your dissertation, but you have to push yourself sometimes, right? And the pushing is taking control of yourself one step at a time. Okay. And then the fourth part is to move within 5 seconds. Okay. Because she says that there's that moment in time, those 5 seconds, that if you think it and you let 5 seconds pass and you don't do it, then your brain's going to shut you down. Okay. So for a lot of these things, it's about moving. So it's physically doing something. It may be you have to push yourself within those 5 seconds to, she says, to move. Doesn't always have to physically be moving, but often it does. So for me, potato chips, I need to literally close the bag. I need to move. I need to close the bag and put the bag away, right? For if it has to do with your dissertation, you need to walk over to your computer, sit down, open your computer, turn on your Pomodoro and get ready, right? Or maybe you're sitting at your computer and you need to get rid of everything, get your Pomodoro ready and get started, right? If it's getting outside, then it may be that you think, I really need to go for a run, or you knew you're going to go for a run at 10 a.m. and now it's 10 a.m. and you're like, oh, I really should do that. I really should do that. You need to get up and do it now. Okay. Now there's a little kind of caveat to this, that it's not always moving. Sometimes it's following the instinct to say something or to not say something. I think this is really interesting, especially for women, because let's say you're in a meeting or in a relationship, you're in a conversation of some sort. Maybe it's a personal conversation, maybe it's a professional conversation, maybe you're sitting with your dissertation committee, and somebody says something and you've got something to say, but many of us keep our voices silent. So if you have this instinct that is towards a goal of being a woman who actually speaks my truth in public, then so I have this instinct, right, that's towards a goal, then I need to push myself to say something, and I need to move, or in this moment, say something within 5 seconds. So I think about it, done. I got to say it, right? Or on the flip side of that, not say something. So for example, with a partner, like, if my husband's bugging me and I, know that I should keep my mouth shut, then I need to, like, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 myself to like, no, I'm making the decision to just keep my mouth shut. I'm not going to say this unkind thing that I'm about to say about why you didn't wash the dishes last night. Okay. I hope that didn't just muddy the waters. I'm going to keep going. Hopefully you're sticking with me. Okay, so we've talked about 4 parts. If you have an instinct to act on a goal, you must push yourself to physically move, usually in 5 seconds, or your brain will kill it. So again, there's this, like, the way that she talks about it is that your brain is like an overprotective parent and it thinks it's keeping you safe, right? So when you wake up in the morning, and for her, when she felt dread and overwhelmed when she woke up, it was like a part of her brain was saying, no, it's safer to stay in bed. It's safer to stay in bed. So it's like there's a part of her brain that was trying to support her and help her, right? But there's a larger part of her that knew that that was not good for her, that she needed to get out of bed and she needed to, like, not think about all the reasons to get out of bed because that didn't work for her. Now, sometimes we can think ourselves out of things or into things, but sometimes we can't. And sometimes we just need to do the thing that's hard to do without thinking about it, because when we think about it, it won't work. I hope that makes sense. So just knowing that if we take too long on some of these things, our brain will kill it. And so we just need to get going. Okay. So again, if you want to learn more about this, you can read her book, or you can listen to her book. She's quite irreverent, so it's actually kind of fun to listen to. Or you can just Google her and you'll find lots of references about her. So that is a 5-second rule. And I encourage you to give it a try and see if it's helpful, especially for those of you that have a hard time initiating, getting started on something. Okay. So if you're having a hard time with something, I want you to try the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then do the thing. Good luck. I hope this is helpful to you. Play with it. Bye-bye.